Hi, I'm Finn. So today I just wanted to do another video on the 13 characteristics of adult children of alcoholics or people who have grown up in a dysfunctional home. So the 13 that I was going through in my other videos were compiled. They're sort of like an added 13 to the original 13 listed by Janet. I don't know her last name. She's one who's written a lot of famous great books about adult children of alcoholics. So I just want to touch on a few she mentions, and I'm just going to mention 3, and I'll probably do another video on a few others. And again, like most of my videos, I tend to use my own personal experience as examples. So, of course, there'll be times it just does not relate to you. It just serves as an example where you can look at it in your own life. So today I just want to mention 3. The first one being that adult children of alcoholics or people from, and not even adult children, you may still be a child of an alcoholic, right? You might be 13 or 14, 11 or 12. So children or adult children of alcoholics and of dysfunctional homes often seek approval. So this is a big one in my life, and I look back and it stems in line with me being a people pleaser. Not as much anymore at all, but growing up I very much was, and I always did the right thing, sort of stuck to the rules. You can go either way. Sometimes you'll get adult children who are anti-authority, right? So, but I actually would stick to the rules, and I really felt I got a sense of worth when people complimented me or I was told that I was doing the right thing. So there wasn't enough self-esteem there for me to sort of I knew I was doing a good job at something, but it added far more weight if someone actually told me. And the problem with this is that through life, we're going to be in jobs where you may never be acknowledged. And that's probably a horrible thing in a lot of ways. I don't think there's enough acknowledgement anyway that goes around the workplace or in life. We don't acknowledge people nearly enough. But if you're only getting your self-worth from what people say of you or say to you, you're not going to get very far. So particularly in teenage years, you'll find that that seeking approval, which is one of the traits, could lead you up the garden path to a lot of problems, let's just say, in choosing types of relationships with people, to actually hang around friends who just are not nice people or not conducive to where you want to go in life, right? And this energy that you expend on actually wanting people to accept you is just such wasted energy, but at the time you feel that it's necessary. So it's something to watch out for and have a look in your life where exactly you may be exhibiting this. Certainly in job situations, I never felt that I was good enough. So, and the joke being that I'd often end up quitting a job because I put so much pressure on myself in terms of perfectionism to meet a standard that I'd created in my head, that when I left, the employers that I was leaving would often be really upset that I was going. And it was only then that I got, oh, I am good at my job. And it was almost like maybe I was just waiting for them, unless they told me I was good, I may have stayed. But because I never really heard it, I was convinced that I was shit, basically. Apart from other factors sometimes that I just didn't like the job, but I'd push myself very hard and it was extra stress for me. It wasn't how someone else would relate to a job. It was a pressure on me. That is, again, sort of sits in line with perfectionism a bit. A lot of seeking approval means that you may be a lot of a perfectionist, and takes a lot of energy to live that way. So that's one of the characteristics. Another one is difficulty having fun. And yeah, okay, so obviously in my early childhood years, and there was a lot of problems happening then, we were still able to have fun. When you're a child, you sort of, I don't know, it's the world of living as a child. We were able to let go a bit and still at least enjoy some aspects of, those years. Going to teenage years, yeah, went through the general depressive teenage thing. Still able to have somewhat fun. And in that period, for me at least, my dad sobered up for about 5 years, miraculously, in that 5-year period. So I'd have to say it's been as I've gotten older that I'd probably say I'm a bit more serious. So it's certainly my experiences have somewhat, I don't know, you'd find that set a tone for the rest of for your life. I'm not saying the rest of your life. You can change tomorrow if you want. I actually enjoy being somewhat more serious, but I absolutely relate to difficulty having fun, and that's obvious. If you've got so much stress going on in your life, there's not a lot of fun to have. You know, like it's all relative. So you're looking at a situation where people really, you know, jumping around, having a great time, and in your head you're thinking, yeah, but home right now is absolutely shit. I don't want to be there. And you're living in a bit of a reality, like, how can I have fun doing this when the real reality of my life is that I fucking hate it? So essentially I get why it's such a huge characteristic of adult children of alcoholics and dysfunction, because one thing I love about the people is that you live in reality. Like, you're someone who actually really sort of calls a spade generally, and you kind of get that it's incongruent and it's somewhat contradictory to be having a crazy old good old time when, you know, 5 minutes later, you know, you're going to be dealing with crap at home. So clearly there's a reason why that develops. Obviously, you know, it's not a great way to be living in that you can't have fun, because what's the point of life? I mean, like, you know, it can be serious sometimes, but really at the end of the day, we're all going to die. Like, without being morbid, I mean, that's the end. That's what's going to happen. Could be tomorrow, you know, could be longer than you think, but the journey is what matters, and it is a tough one, but it certainly isn't something that you're destined to have forever, but it is a trait, and if you know that you're living inside of that at the moment, my best advice would be to try and find ways you can bring some joy back into your life. And again, like I often say, easier said than done, but it is there, it's possible. I've slowly brought back things for me, but, you know, as it's an attitude. So I absolutely understand that trait. The third one is loyalty where loyalty is not deserved. So the adult children of alcoholics and children from dysfunctional homes are very extremely loyal, and fantastic trait in person. Like, actually, they're the words I get given a lot. Like, oh, you're a very loyal person. I won't stick up for someone who maybe is doing completely the wrong thing, but I value loyalty. The thing is when you are being loyal to people who do not respect your loyalty. And this is like in cases where you may be in a relationship with someone who chronically cheats on you, or, you know, there's sort of, yeah, well, certainly that, like, where you're loyal to them, but there is absolutely no loyalty to you, and you continue to be loyal to that person. It's a skewed sense of loyalty. So you think, you know, you're really existing this, that these people deserve loyalty, and really, in fact, all their actions prove that they don't. And this, again, of course, is always tied up in self-worth. Another one where you may be overly loyal was I put up with a lot of bizarre experiences with my dad, like inappropriate comments, things that just, so you could say any normal person would just not have a bar of. But when you're dealing with you know, in a sense, it's mental illness too, like situations that there's just no, there's no one you could ever talk to that would probably even experienced it. Like, every situation is unique. You'll often find that you're being loyal in situations, and the boundaries become very blurry. Yeah, and loyalty, like with friends who, you know, have really tested your patience or your loyalty or your respect, but you continue to pursue these relationships at a detriment to yourself. And you'll often find this, and you might look at yourself and go, oh, it's an amazing attribute you have, I'm a really loyal person, but it's only up until that it's costly to you, and you may not even notice that it is being costly to you. So it's something to look out for, particularly in personal relationships with your partner or a boyfriend or girlfriend, and family relationships. So, you know, we grow up in families, we say, oh, they're blood related, and if you have great relationships with your family, that's the beauty of it. It's almost like the history with people. You don't really have to explain your history over and over again. These people just know. The thing is, just because they're your family, blood related, doesn't mean they have to be your friends. So this is something I'm slowly realising. Like, just because people are familial, like they're genetically connected to you, if these people don't respect you, if you're in a situation where these people, there's just nothing, like, you don't have to be their friend. You don't have to have anything to do with them. Like, this is the reality. There's no loyalty to that. Like, the fact is, if it's affecting your life and your life is important, and your life actually matters, and this is one of the biggest things, and it took me a long time to get this, that your life actually matters. Like, you have a unique experience to have here. And for you to think that being a martyr, which means like that you would give off your life for the expense of somebody, like to somebody else, for the sake of looking after somebody else, or constantly being there for somebody who, at the end of the day, probably doesn't really even respect the fact that you are. They don't even, with a lot of our colleagues, it's absolutely unacknowledged. They just, in fact, they'd rather you not in a lot of ways. It's almost like they end up hating you for taking care of them because it makes them feel guilty, and so therefore it's all very skewy. But my point being, your life matters, and so if you're living in a world right now where you're giving up your whole life for somebody else, that's what has to change, and that takes a lot of work. But that's the thing that needs to alter and shift. And again, I'll always often say you need to start reading. You need to get into some self-help work and self-help books. Everyone likes different things, but they're the number one, and probably talking to somebody as well. But certainly, yeah, loyalty where loyalty is not deserved is just such a huge one, and it's developed over many, many years. So it's, slowly breaking down these patterns that we've developed, these characteristics that we've put in place that we know ourselves to be, or we think that's who we are, but actually it's not. It isn't your potential. It's just someone you've been in the past. So I just want to mention those three. I will go on and do another few videos on the other ones, and again, give examples in my own life. But yeah, if anything resonated with you, if you really see something in that, write a comment below. Otherwise, yeah, I'll do another video soon. Thanks, bye.